everyone, and welcome on into some Indiana Esports Network action here. D-Lo on the mic, joined by Sami Nami in the booth, Almighty Eyes in the sky, Connie Console, as well as Taylor. Keep the prod lights on and that cam steady. You watching at home as you prep up some more Rocket League on the stakes. Sami, how we feeling?
I mean, I'm feeling fantastic here. I'm ready for some of this Mario Kart here tonight.
It's going to be a great time. It's going to be high-flying, high-octane action here. And of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't first give a thanks to those who help us even get on the stage in the first place. That's going to be our friends at Zotac Gaming. I want to give a huge shout out to Zotac Gaming for supporting Scholastic Esports in Indiana. You can show your appreciation for our friends at Zotac by giving them a shout out on social media. Make sure to join their community on the Discord, and don't forget to use the hashtag powered by Zotac or hashtag ZotacUSA when you post.
Now, with that being said here, we have two really well-played teams here tonight, don't we? I believe we have the following two, Franklin Central and Mooresville, correct?
Indeed. And we also have, this being, like, I believe, our last week of streamed Mario Kart. So, you know, it's all coming down to this, all the peak, the pinnacle. Got to make sure that you bring in your right mushrooms to the course. You're bringing your right strategies as well. And it's interesting because especially at an esports level of this caliber where we're, you know, with the kiddos, we're with the schoolins people, there's a lot of room for, I'd say, optimization. Right? There are the shortcuts that you have. Does everyone know how to operate the shortcuts? There's also the ability to item tank. Do I hang in the back to try to grab the lightning to ensure that no one else on the enemy team gets it and also to ensure that my team pulls ahead? Or do you just kind of play traditionally as anyone normally would if they pick up the controller? Just try to go for first place right off the get-go.
I mean, there is definitely a lot of strategies you can try to go in for. I would say here, it's really going to depend what you're going to be faced up against. So first and foremost, make sure you get someone on your team at a big lead start. And from there, you got to really focus upon getting yourself set up to be in position to either protect or attack anyone that starts to come into the rankings.
And the format is going to be, if I'm not mistaken, Sami, is it's typical 5v5. You can see them all gathered up there below. I saw Peter Griffin there, too. That's interesting. Hey, Peter.
Hey, Peter.
Humpty Dumpty making an appearance. Man, we got all sorts of famous characters on the field, and we're going to get right to the track. First race coming at your face.
Yeah, I'm really going to be looking forward to this here. As we're going to be starting this off immediately here. I'm just going to look at the PhD score right now. I believe we're going to be seeing Franklin Central here on blue.
I'm seeing a lot on red. Yoshi's is apparently the king of the meta. I saw like 3 of these red dinosaurs coming out to start things off. We're back in the Cruciatus period, 66 million years ago. This is what it all looked like, you know? Just living piranha plants and red dinosaurs.
And carts that go everywhere.
Yes, that's biblically accurate, actually. Mushroom in the pocket here so far, and you can see we're starting to item stack here, which is interesting. I'm seeing this red shell be tanked by Franklin Central, but I'm around the second lap here. This is a map that's pretty simple, pretty easy on the eyes, pretty easy when it comes to getting around. No crazy wackiness, no hover sections. It's just going to be pretty honest, and that means that you're, again, just trying to maintain this lead. So far, Franklin Central doing a solid job here. This Yoshi got that banana as a good solid shield against the incoming red shell. Not even going to need it. And drift it.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing here right now is between the Yoshis here and the one piranha plant, they're actually maintaining a big distance from one another. And this is actually a really bad situation right now for the side of Mooresville because no one's able to catch up.
Yeah, you're seeing the blue side just absolutely dominant, but what that does mean is it opens up the opportunity for items like that lightning to come through and try to slow them down just a little bit, potentially. But no sprig in their step lost. Just going to keep on boosting at the end, and those coins are going to continue to assist as well, doing a great job managing their finances. Financial literacy, very important for these young esports players, and it's going to be easy first place on the side of Franklin Central.
That it is. They have one last person here to cross the finish line, and all of them do it. Top 4. This is actually the first I've seen a team do that here on IN.
That's pretty brutal. There's no other way to really say it. That's a pretty brutal way to start things off, but nonetheless, you got potential to try to repeat the same action, but in the reverse. Hopefully, maybe it's just a warm-up issue. You know, you gotta get your fingers used to the sticks. You gotta kind of get the circulation flowing. I know that, at least on the East Coast here, it's been very, very cold today. So maybe they're just not feeling quite up to the par just yet, but second map, that could change.
Most definitely can. I mean, that's going to be Shroom Ridge, and that is a map I personally am very familiar with. I come from the Mario Kart DS era onward, and I tell you what, those tight turns, you have to be able to bend around extremely quickly while keeping track of the traffic.
Yeah, a bit more chaos added in, whereas before it was kind of kept on as a Tokyo Blur. We'll see, maybe a bit of a change-up going down here. Hold on, maybe they just leave entirely? We're going off the map instead. Some off-terrain driving.
Alrighty then. You know, we like to play some wild cards here now and again, don't we?
I kind of said this is definitely one first in terms of how wild it's getting, but we'll have to wait to see what the technical issues are as they get sorted on out. But, all right, assuming that we are retaining ourselves on that same stage, we can go with the theories, because you know more about the DLC maps than I do. I personally don't have too much knowledge about the extra map pack. So what should we be expecting, you said? What's the key to victory on that, what was it, Shroom Gorge, you said?
Yes, it was going to be Shroom Ridge. It's from the DS era, reimagined here in Mario Kart 8. And again, that is the first Mario Kart game I've actually ever played, so I got really good at it. From there, it's all about getting all those stars, trophies, golden, perfect every single map. It's a grind, I tell you, and it's not for the faint of heart. So when you're dealing with Shroom Ridge, you need to really focus on your bends. Drifting is going to be very key. But when you're in a team battle, you have to either look for item blocks to block capture of, or you have to be able to kind of use each other to gain momentum to push through, and that's not always easy to do in these kinds of races, especially if the wheel set that we just witnessed is going to be maintained throughout all the races. Because that, again, was a significant distance between the two teams where neither one really had a chance to pretty much meet each other.
Yeah, right? There's not much interaction in that sense between them, which really feels rough because, yeah, sure, you got a red shell in pocket, but I don't know at what distance the homing lasts for. I'm not sure if it's infinite, but if you're finding yourself all the way back in 9th place and the closest enemy you have is in, like, what, 4th? What do I do there? Is my item even going to go to good use unless it puts me in a position where I can actually get closer to the enemy? I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure of the range mechanics there, but either way, it also just feels demoralizing, Sami, when you look at the minimap and you see that everyone that is in last place is the same color as you.
It definitely is. And the thing about those shows is that they could also hurt your allies, unfortunately. So what they probably had to do several times over is that if they got red shells or green shells, they had to have the person that was in front of them purposely fall back so they can overtake them to try to launch the shells. And that doesn't always mean that they're going to hit either. Green shells especially, because after so many bounces they're gone. Red shells have a better chance until that starts to lag on in time, and from there they will go until they can't hit something unless they hit something in the environment like a thwomp unexpectedly.
So in that sense, you really are relying on the leader of the losing pack to even have a chance at using offensive items to success. What you're really hoping for in those instances is then invincibility stars, bullet bills, the golden mushroom, something that gets you ahead rather than putting your enemy behind, because the enemy in front of you is actually just your ally in disguise. You really got to make sure you're being careful in that instance. So we're going to have to try to see if they're able to implement that as they look to the second game, the second map, and it seems we'll be restarting relatively soon. In fact, actually, I believe that we might have been on the wrong map entirely. It seems like we're going to be restarting the first race, so even though there was a big stomp there from the outset, now it's a bit of a mental reset.
Yeah, there's definitely that. It's always a questionable what's going on here between the cups and selections, so we'll just have to see what's going to be happening now. But this is a great opportunity here for Mooresville to potentially make an adaptation in their playstyle. Personally, in my races, I always go for speed and top speed and or acceleration. It's either that or top speed and handling, because I'm very confident in my control. Not everyone is. Some people like to be able to get themselves going back up after they hit a wall or stop if they make a mistake. So the acceleration might be where some people focus upon.
That's interesting. Yeah, when it comes to the stats, that is also like just a section that I find myself to be woefully not knowledgeable. And so I'm curious, Sami, like what are the stats dependent on? Is it dependent on the map that a particular stat finds itself to be more useful? When do I want to have a higher cart weight? When do I want to have a higher cart acceleration? When do I want to have a higher cart handling?
So it is based on the environment. So for a map kind of like Shroom Ridge, that has more of the road. Same with the Tokyo Blur. So you're going to be having, not trying to focus as much on the off turf kind of wheels. So like big wheels or heavier set. They make you easy to push people around, but also slower to recover if you find yourself hitting a wall. So not always a great thing to do. Handling's always going to be top key for anyone, especially how you utilize your characters. And again, speed is key. So people will always focus on trying to get that going.
Well, want to find out as we can speedily get into this first map once more. First map being replayed once again, so back to Tokyo Blur. Familiar environment, but new possibilities. We'll see if Mooresville can get right back into the race as we all prepare ourselves for the starting sound of the horn.
There we go. I mean, you have the Ladybug carts here with the toy wheels, and the bear with toy wheels. That's pretty standard in this game. What isn't is actually looking at the Piranha Plant. You have, this is actually a more heavier set off-road kind of thing. So they're built more as a tank and I think a buffer between the teams. Now we do have a bit more of a mix-up going on here. It's not a complete one color is ahead than the other. Mooresville actually has, I think, a player hunting nearby Piranha Plant.
Nice, that's good to see. All right, I'm glad that maybe it was just a mental reset. That's all it needed.
Whoa.
He did it in
Hey, Peter.
Get right back. Hey, Peter, I'm trying to get up in the front. We'll see if they're able to.
Oh, there we go.
And we have the Yoshi in the backseat. It's good to see, different Yoshi, purple and yellow Yoshi. We've got every single color here. It's a bag of M&Ms.
Love that. This is the feed from Mooresville, actually. So we're going to be able to actually witness some of their gameplay as well. May not be hearing anything. I stand corrected. It is there. But going to be
with the groovy jams back.
Yeah, gotta love the groovy jams there. As they're rushing around. I mean, look at this control here. You see how he's constantly, this Yoshi here in particular, is going for drifts? It's to be able to constantly maintain speed boost here. And this could be trouble for Rosalina. Oh, gonna be going on down to the Piranha Plant that stole the triple red shells.
Yeah, triple red shells is an unfortunate thing to have swiped away from you. See the same thing happen there. Wow, we're back to the finish. As you see there, one red Yoshi there of the blue team does manage to cross line first. Piranha Plant this go around is actually all the way in the back. Does have that golden mushroom that could potentially gain him a little bit of distance. One more place in front and actually shoulders past the second. So at least he gets some distance there, but nonetheless, not able to get out of the slump. Now it's a far more spread board as we look at the points.
Indeed. I mean, you look at that, it wasn't as one-sided this time. You actually had some players a bit on the listing there, which is actually really good for them. A lot better scoreboard than they had prior. So now as we're going to be looking to head over the Shroom Ridge here, this is where you're going to have this same card setup work fairly well as we saw in Tokyo Blur, because it's not any different.
Okay, we'll see if that's just going to affect them going into this one, as well as the fact that there might be a bit of frustrations, going into that second map. The fact that you felt so dominant from Franklin. You had everyone up in the front. All my homies were eating, and all of a sudden we're starting to kind of go a little bit hungry. So hopefully Piranha Plant Luda can try to get back into the swing of things. We'll see as they up to a solid boost to start. I'm not going to lie, already that impresses me. I have a very hard time grabbing that initial boost off the starting light.
Yeah, most definitely here. As you're going to be making your way around these bends, again, you got to really pay attention to the pattern of the cars here. And you are seeing that it's actually keeping fairly close. Full side of Mooresville playing the middle of the pack here, but they really have to be careful because any one of these item boxes here could spell their doom unless they run into a semi.
And you talked about this idea before of using your teammates and enemies as well as momentum, that slipstream, being able to track someone's wake and actually get ahead. And normally, of course, if you're facing against an enemy, they don't want you to be catching up like that, so they're going to try to dip, duck, dive, and swerve away so you're not caught in the wind tunnel. But instead, Maybe just stay in place, let your teammate try to get that boost up ahead. Green Shell wipes out PD Piranha for a little bit, but now they're armed and dangerous.
That they are. Now, I thought there was a little less red on the map here. In fact, it seems that maybe a player or two has disconnected from the match here, as I only see 2 of them on the board.
That's trouble on the board. Maybe they got side wandered by the 70. That semi-truck actually took them out of the game completely, man. They're totaled. Lakita's got to bring them into the shop.
Yeah. And these racers are still going all the way here. Now, you do see that Bullet Bill coming in from the back, but they're so fast that the Bullet Bill was barely able to get any distance for catch-up here as we're looking at it. And I mean, the way this is kind of playing out, I'm really in fear for Mooresville to be able to make a comeback here. They're desperately looking for better items.
Well, Blue Shell is certainly not too shabby on the shout. The Yoshi's really had no means of saving themselves. I wonder if you could, I was about to say, decide to eat the car stun to try to maybe swerve off the Blue Shell stun. Does not work out, though, in your favor. Instead, just doubles down on the damage.
And they just got the jukebox after the fact, too.
That's so mean, but they're just going to take a quick dive off, try to smell the roses, catch a sight of the mountain. Nikita's going to get them right back on track, but overall, Franklin Central still going strong.
Yeah, I mean, what we're seeing that you have your one team leader here that goes all the way, fastest speed setup they can get with full control, while the rest of your team kind of plays like a pack, holding back in order to kind of differentiate what gets hit and what doesn't. Like I said, that red shell will go until it cannot. So being able to have kind of like a long distance meat shield to buffer between the first place and third in between is actually a big deal.
Also a big deal that they lost 2 of their players. And I could definitely impact it a little bit. So hopefully they come on back and we don't have too many more issues on the tech front. But nonetheless, interesting to see how people react to the slow addition of obstacles. Like we said before, the Tokyo course is definitely a bit more calm, cool, controlled. Thwomps, they stay in their rightful place, and you really don't have to worry too much about getting hit by an errant. But the car is a bit more difficult, of course, to dodge around. So good for these kiddos to get some practice on the, on the freeways. I certainly was scared when I was in driving school.
Yeah. I wasn't too afraid myself. I was afraid of the car getting messed up, I'm going to be honest.
Respectable. They don't have to worry about that here. Lakitu buffs that all out. They got good insurance here in the Mario Kart. Indiana Esports Network makes sure to provide full coverage for any damage, and now we're amongst the clouds.
I mean, we are, and given that we are going already into the 3rd race here, I don't believe there is any sort of restart for the DCs there. It seems because they had already loaded in, they had to play out the race. So, unfortunately there for Mooresville, they really need to focus upon getting some space here to start. But again, this is a big, tough problem to have here. Look at him just trying to hop through the shortcut there. Like the idea, gets away with it, and they're just kind of holding this coin here until they really need the extra speed that builds up for every coin you have until you pretty much cap it out on 10 for acceleration.
What can also be advantageous about keeping a coin in pocket is the fact that you can't get a second coin, which means you're guaranteed a different item. So making sure to keep that and not instantly spend it, especially the fact that, like you said, they already had 10. They're going to hold it, wait until they get the green shell, and instead that gets robbed away. At least you got the banana, at least you got the shortcut.
That is true. I mean, they're forcing these shortcuts even if they don't have a mushroom like Piranha Pete here, and yet still getting away with it all.
I mean, this is just highway robbery at this point. Look how far ahead they are, and the only person that they can even catch up to them is their ally. Eat Piranha. Send that red shell their way. Why not? Just keep your friend on the toes.
Very funny. But that's just it, is that you have this huge buffers and distance space that works in your favor.
I don't like too much to do about it other than just hope a blue shell can come their way, and maybe the Rosalina in the back.
Oh,
here's
the joke. Red shell at the end.
Well, that happens to the best of us. Red shell for a red Yoshi. At least it matches. It's part of your whole aesthetic. Eat Piranha. Gonna shortly follow it on up, and overall, it's another solid day to be a Franklin Central player. They are on top.
Indeed. Now I got to give credit here to the club player listed for the side of Mooresville. They've actually been doing a fairly decent job trying to push into the pack here of Franklin Central.
Yeah, not really too much they could do other than their best. And at the end of the day, as long as you're able to put in the maximum effort, that's all that matters. But again, it's a team-driven game. Even though Mario Kart can feel very individualistic, there are ways to work together on the grander scheme. There's a whole, macro play to the micro as well. And it's very difficult when you're the only one amongst enemy territory. You find yourselves in the trenches and everyone surrounding you is a different color, and that means that they're going to be looking for your head, whereas you only have maybe 2 item slots, and they're not always guaranteed to be offensive or defensive tools.
Definitely not. And we are now headed over to the Ninja Hideaway. I'm going to be honest, I despise this map.
Explain.
Oh,
What's the beef?
Biggest beef here is probably like the beginning part of the map here, middle part, I'm fairly okay with. Where it's got its nice aesthetic, love that about it. It's the end part of this map. I just hate it with a passion. It's difficult to almost impossible to combo drifts around, and unless you are picture frame perfect with your control or positioning, you can get messed up extremely easily here.
Piranha kind of mess up their opponents a little bit. Maybe being the one to kind of watch the backs of the Yoshi pack in the front. Since now it seems like there's a bit more of a spread, but nonetheless, no surprise we see Franklin Central's Yoshi's finest in first place. Some solid drifts up the stairs, and they've got no plans to stop it.
No, they don't. Oh, there's your mess up.
My bad. I shouldn't have said that. That was my fault.
Oh, what is this?
What? They just revealed a little secret entrance. This is a true Ninja Yoshi.
I have never seen that while on this map. You learn something new every day.
You like the map now?
No, I still don't like it.
Nah, that's fair.
It could be on the bottom of my tier list any day. I don't care if people are angry with me for that. Does not matter. It still has better maps in this game than this one.
Well, no one better so far than this red Yoshi. Keeps that coin in pocket.
Yeah.
Waiting for the next item. What could it be? So it's just smart play. It's a player who confidently understands how to front run. And that just shows that they've been in this position many times before. They know how it feels to be in first. The sweet nectar of victory. Yoshi tastes it. They stick their tongue out for a few drops. But still got a bit more distance to go, and a blue shell is on the way.
Indeed. Oh, just dodges the banana there. They're trying to do what you said earlier of the immune to damage by taking that hit. Now, they do give up first place to another one of their players, but I think they're going to race each other to get it on back here as they set themselves up to possibly be set up for a 1 through 4 ranking.
Have the mushroom in pocket. Gonna try to use it on their own enemy, or on their own ally rather, but Yoshi's okay with sharing a bit of the spotlight nonetheless, as long as it means Franklin Central's on top. And so far it's the case. 1 through 4 racket, and that's gonna be really solid work for the side of blue. Mooresville, unfortunately, in quite the deep ditch.
Yep, but hey, not that fourth. They actually, again, snuck in someone. Peter Piranha thought he had it. Nope.
Not too shabby, but the score tells quite a story of woe if you're a Mooresville fan. Nonetheless, always can try to learn a bit more in the future from it. But it's going to be Franklin Central, 95-35. They'll take it.
Indeed. Now, one thing I do want to mention here, the selection of Luna here on the PD Piranha, when you do play with heavier characters, they supposedly have a higher top speed stat because of their weight, and the card has to pretty much make up for that weight deficit. That makes it slower upon acceleration startup once you come to a stop. So I think that apart from being a tank, I think they were trying to utilize it to just be a big meat shield while at the same time pretty much a bully to anyone that gets near.
The minutia of this is so interesting, man, because Mario Kart, I love party games that I feel like Smash Bros, at least very much for me. I'm aware of the competitive scene, I'm into the trenches, but knowing and understanding these little details, these little intricate little bits and nuggets of what makes this game a lot more complex than the surface would imply is really neat, Sami. So tell me, as far as the competitive meta in general, let's zoom out a little bit since we don't know what quite circuit we're going to just yet. What defines the ability for a player in Mario Kart 8 to do well versus a player to just do mediocre?
So part of it is going to be communication there, as it goes with any esport. Another is how you play with your setup here. So like I said, I tend to play actually very off meta, but I get away with it because I've become a a master of my craft, and yet I still got a lot to learn. I still get pretty much creamed at every other day, yet I'm able to take it against unsuspecting players that do run the meta, yet have difficulty with execution. So what I'm saying here to wrap it all up is that if you can really know your build, your kit inside and out, and practice it to a T, you're going to be able to execute it a lot better than those that are like, oh, this is just the meta build. I just have to play it.
Huh. That's so interesting to know, and it makes complete sense. The execution, of course, always going to be the most important, but there are a lot of extra details, like you said, with the carts. Are you building your tank cart correctly on the right map that it should be, or are you kind of going off the beaten path? Sounds like you're more of a rogue, Sami. I respect that, but sometimes you got to play it by the book. Sometimes maybe you can try to beat your own path down instead. Couple green shells here for our friend the PD Piranha, and it seems like this go around, it's Franklin trying to take control from the outset once again.
Yep. A little bit of unintended collateral to their own teammates here does open up 2 slots to the side of Mooresville to start making their way forward here. As now it's just going to be Banana Central here for Franklin Central, as they're going to be holding for one another.
High potassium, certainly important in developing esports players. Want to make sure you get a balanced diet. Mushrooms important as well. Very divisive fungi/vegetable, but you know what? Big fan of them on pizza. Big fan of them in this Yoshi's hand. Unfortunately, is it going to be enough to save you from the red shell? No, but a green shell certainly will.
Most certainly indeed. Actually, this is a great item here to be holding in second place. If you keep this jukebox for any blue shell, you can actually interrupt the blue shell's path before it hits the first place.
Well, I'm just going to blow it instead, actually. Try to grab this red shell. If you're going to use it at 2, Yoshi, it's going to be a race to the finish, but now your greatest friend has become your most bitter enemy. They tossed out the red shell, but just for funsies, maybe to find someone else. So it does seem like it steers around their allies at the very least. You don't have to worry about friendly fire quite as much.
No, you don't. And yeah, that was a tough one there. Humpty Dumpty gonna fall down as Petey Piranha makes his way by.
Someone call all the king's horses. Get all the king's men. Put them back together again. At least you get that one sneaky link in there, the end. You get that one person in fourth. But again, it's a consolation prize, Sami. It's not going to be enough to sustain yourself through the series. Franklin Central already started with a full tank of gas, and it feels like Mooresville are nearing empty.
That they are. And you know, the interesting thing is that we've seen a different person steal 4th place from the side of Mooresville every single race now.
That's neat. So at least, getting a bit of sharing is caring action. You're getting some spotlight, but it's not the top that you want. Is that Walter White?
Yes.
I am the one who knocks. All right, well, which team is that from? Walter White, mister. I need you to lock in. I need you to be more like season 8 from Breaking Bad. Right now, you're looking more like season 1. He's still a science teacher. That's why he's not driving like he should be.
Listen, you got Humpty Dumpty, Ditto, Walter White, and Peter, all right? You got a whole cast of players there.
Well, find out if they're able to snuff this go around. I'm really rooting for Mooresville. Even if they can't take the series, Sami, I want to see them at least get one dominant map where you see more red on the top than blue. I just want to see a change of scenery.
Yeah. I mean, that's something everyone wants to see from time to time here. Now, could take place if they play their cards right. Biggest thing here, when you do find yourself at the very end, is how you chain these item boxes in order to try to spam for the good items, like the lightning, the bullet bill, and to get yourself... And this kind of happened... Look at these guys. They're drifting every single corner. This is exactly what you need to do on Shroom Ridge, as it just flies on by.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was watching Petey Piranha just skate on through. Look at the roads made of ice. But the way they're doing it is beautiful. And it's because of their cart loadouts, also because of their awareness of how to play this map. Look at that, man. Just constantly boosting. They're never at a regular speed because this ability to drift is now cut short. An errant green shell smacks him in the face and loses all that momentum.
That it does. See, that's the hard part once you're heavy. You get a little bit of that acceleration momentum back thanks to the drift boost, but you have to do that constantly to push out like this Yoshi is in first place. That is how you beat these team is that you have to match them or do better than them consistently every single corner, and you have to constantly find an angle to get the drift boost. That's where it becomes, yeah, that's where it becomes the experience versus the masters of their craft.
IHS Club trying to once again sneak in, but this time the bouncers from Franklin Central say, what do you know here, buddy? I think you should go to Weenie Hut Juniors instead. Maybe Rosalina trying to sneak on into the back door, not gonna work, now relegated in the bottom 4 once again with the rest of the squad. One red Yoshi and for Franklin Central trying to keep them all out, but at least there's potential, but no potential to catch up to the leads of Franklin Central already having crossed that finish line.
Yep, I mean, you have one coming in here for 4th, but I think the red Yoshi's trying to steal it back from them. Do they get it in time? And it looks like they're not going to be able to, as that will finish the race.
Tragic. Tragic, but nonetheless, at the very least, you get something on the board. It's just the same story we're seeing is repeatedly that they're on the cusp of getting someone across the line, but the issue is you're an individual, and again, you're amongst a sea of blue, which, you know, makes sense. That's the color typically, but you want to get a sea of red. You want to shed the blood of your enemies, spill it on the cart floor. Maybe Sky Garden will be the opportunity to do so.
Sky Garden is actually a little more of a tougher one. So the wheels that work well on Shroom Ridge and Tokyo Blur don't work quite the same on Sky Garden or Ninja Hideaway. So those drag wheels won't be as effective. They're still going to be like useful and have its space, but in such a case here, this is where your off-roader actually has a little bit more value, as well as those with weight. But still, it's again going to be about your corner control and your drift control.
Gotta make sure that you're keeping yourself rational. And I think that's harder to do when you've been back behind for longer. It's hard to keep that control in general, mental and physical. So you gotta make sure that you're maintaining zen. Make sure you're not losing your cool. But no place cooler than the stratosphere. I'd imagine it's rather chilly up there. Yoshi didn't even bring a coat. Hopefully they're staying okay as we see if Franklin Central dominate once again.
Yep. Already setting up for the drift. All 4 of them going for it as they make their way around here. Oh, look at that. You do have some red there being seen, but they mess up their bounce off the mushroom. This is something I've actually seen consistently from the Yoshis on the side of Franklin Central. They tend to get themselves going so fast that they mess up their speed bounce off of it.
See the way that Red Yoshi on the side bullied that baby Rosalina off, using the slipstream to just absolutely mollywhop her. Get off the playground. Recess is over, buddy. Red shell in the pocket here, and all 3 members in the lead are putting Franklin Central. You have one Yoshi low in the backside, but maybe their job is just to be the spoiler to ensure that the rest can never reach. But we're starting to see something change up. The balance is starting to shift. A lot more red trailing the heels of this Yoshi and Piranha Plant in the lead.
Indeed it is. Oh, that was a mistake.
Ow.
Not a good situation to find yourself in, especially against triple shells and you're holding this bomb. Now, Peter Piranha here has had a solid lead so far, so they're doing fairly all right.
Oh, wow. Hold on a second. In 6th place, this is not the typical we're seeing from Franklin Central. Opens up a chance, but a Fire Flower in hand. Finally, this Yoshi's allowed more than just a green shell and unleashes the power of the sun on the enemy. Hey, Peter, how's about some more fire for your face? And they're going to see if we can try to find any bouncing shots. Doesn't quite get the momentum they wanted off it, but they're still hot on their heels.
At there, and you're starting to see a bit of pain. Oh, Peter. Peter has messed up.
IHS Club. 2nd place right now. Can they catch up with the Piranha Plant? The answer is going to be no. And Mooresville actually able to start reaching the stars. MHS Club, for the first time, we see red in the top 3 slots.
Yes, that we do. Big thing there was definitely Peter messing up that turn. A lot of people want to go for the shortcuts. You don't always have to.
It's true.
The thing is that you go for those shortcuts while you have a lead or time. It is not worth doing such a bend if it's going to cause you to stop. And in a place like Ninja Hideaway, where you can ram into the wall easily by going too fast or losing control, actually kills your momentum extremely fast.
Yeah, those 90-degree sharp turns are brutal. I personally, in my experience, have a very hard time understanding the right time to begin a drift. These players, I'm sure, with their competitive experience, understand that far better than I, but nonetheless, no one is infallible. Anyone can fall for the same tricks. We'll see, though, the second time around, maybe Mooresville can take what they learned from that last game and turn it into further winnings.
Indeed. I mean, the only chance they have here is that they have to get, I think, their four players into the top four here against Franklin Central. And that's, like I said before, this is already a tough pill to swallow for the side of Mooresville. However, there's a lot of mistakes being made now. What is going on here?
This just does not feel like we're seeing the same Franklin Central we saw before. Now it's Franklin East. I don't know. They're not in the middle, though.
Hey!
They're somewhere off. They're in a different direction. But right now, Yoshi trying to get in the direction of victory. Have a few coins for the road. The money up, not your funny up. Maybe get both. Man is dropped in the wayside and already hot in the heels in second place. So far, Franklin Central's trying to get back into a dominant position.
They are indeed. And I mean, I see Mooresville. I know I'm talking a lot about Mooresville here, but like I see them take a lead, and then they just like they themselves also make the mistakes. They just run into the environment at the most oddest of times.
Sometimes there's a pressure can get to you. Their ninja training is yet to be complete, Tommy, and they maybe have to go back to the dojo. Maybe get a bit more training from Master Splinter.
Maybe indeed here. My goodness, look at this lead here from the side of Franklin Central. You have all three Yoshis here in just a huddle, while you have Petey Piranha here holding up the back line against Mooresville.
Gonna be the last lap being run here. Yoshi, happy to let their friend, comrade, take the front run, but then they say, nah, you know what? I think it should be me, actually. Takes the spotlight, takes first place, and Petey Piranha hot off their heels. With that star in pocket, using the mushroom to go blast through that shortcut that we only so shortly learned about. All details like that are the reason why Franklin Central's been just never letting go of his leads. A red shell incoming, manages to be dodged.
Indeed it does. They need like 1 to 2 more of those lightning bolts. It's unfortunate
They need a
hit the flying
thunderstorm.
shine guy. Yeah, there they do.
Not gonna find it yet. No inclement weather. Sun is shining in Franklin Central, Mooresville. Maybe feeling a bit morbid. But in 5th place, Luna. I mean, uncharacteristically rough game here as few members will actually be able to cross the line before them, so not too shabby. I'm curious to see the scoreboard overall. Mooresville, it seems, did get someone to sneak in the top 4 slot, but not quite the same staggering result we saw when they got 2nd place last map around.
Yeah, most definitely not. And I believe that's going to be it for us here tonight as well, because that was the second set. 108 to 45. Wow.
You know what? Mooresville did actually feel like that time around show some potential for greatness. They had a glimmer of hope, right? They had that one person reach the second top spot, but I think the issue, of course, is, again, you got, hey, Peter in the back, who's been kind of consistently, unfortunately, in that last place spot. That's okay. You just got to make sure that player's brought up to speed. Right, literally and figuratively, got to make sure that they are able to run with the rest of the pack, and that takes training, that takes practice, and that is exactly what these esports players are centered on doing, is using these stepping stones to work their way up to the top.
Indeed, they are. Well, that is going to be us for. That's going to be it for us here tonight with IEN. But we do have a few quick shoutouts that we want to give here first. And first and foremost, that's going to be to LandFest. So believe it or not, this broadcast is part of LandFest's Scholastic Esports program, a program that supports this league and many others. Since launching, LandFest has delivered over 300 broadcasts to Scholastic leagues in Washington and Indiana. We provide these broadcasts free of charge to the leagues, schools, and teams that we cover, and your generous donations make it all possible. Every $200 raised covers the operating costs for one regular season broadcast. If you are appreciating our work, be sure to scan that QR code and donate today.
There's also, of course, our friends over at LOS Portal as well. It's already so important that LandFest gives the stage, but LOS Portal gives you watching at home the stage as well. If you want to play esports in college, now you can search hundreds of collegiate esports programs at portal.leagueos.gg. Scholarships exist for players, shoutcasters like us, and more. So list all your talents. Verified college coaches are searching LOS Portal right now to find you. Yes, you. IEN students sign in to manage your prospect profile, where your stats automatically update and populate. LOS Portal is free, so don't miss your chance to get discovered. Visit portal.leagueos.gg and level up your future.
Well, I believe that is it, other than the one more thank you and shout out to our production here. That's going to be Taylor and Connie for being able to help bring this production to you all here today. We appreciate you all so much.
Of course. Thank you all very much for watching as well. Loyal, obedient viewers, stick around and keep your eye in the sky for more LANFest and IEN esports action coming at you in the future. Until then, though, good games and good night.